How's more so come Tanks Invest, where we talk about investing, finance, and professional development. As a recording time of approximately 6 p.m. on Eastern Time, Ethereum contract $3,726, up about 2.68% so far. On the overall crypto market, you could see that clearly the overall market is relatively normalized, right? Reviving from the previous 2 consecutive sell-off days, right? And as of this moment, we can see that there are 2 specific altcoins that are, a little bit more of a downward side, but not like a very severe one, where Solana is currently just down about 0.5%, while AVAX is contemplating, do we stay above the $100 mark or breaking below? So we'll dive into the technicals to see the momentum from there. And also with respect to the equity side, we have a relatively bullish day among the, again, the small cap, large, high growth stocks that we've seen NEO, based on my recent posting, surge to close to about 17% earlier today. And also with respect to some other high growth stocks, like the meme stocks even, the Wall Street bet stocks, if you may, that were relatively, had a great surging pressure because of the fact that hedge funds, typically like to manipulate those the most for window dressing affectation, right? And we are seeing a rotation out of the safe haven stocks today, right? The Teslas of the world, the Amazons of the world, the Googles of the world, the Facebooks of the world, right? And why is that the case? The reason is because they are trying to trigger some sort of an emotional response from retail investors, right? And this is just another flavor of window dressing among the hedge fund community, right? We know that smaller cap stocks are more prone to volatility. They could be selling off a lot higher percentage, but they can also pump up a lot in a percentage perspective. And today we saw the corporate investors buying in, right? A lot of whales pumping into the market, which subsequently translates high volume. And then as the day derailed, we saw that, it was a continuous surge day, right? It was kind of like an upward escalator motion across multiple EV stocks, Chinese growth stocks, and small cap tech stocks, right? Which are typically the, flavor of the hedge fund community for manipulations, right? So which subsequently translates into what we think is the Santa Claus rally that we have seen in translations into the chart today, right? And with that affectation, knowing the fact that crypto is in that category as well, right? Obviously, crypto funds are not, window dressing is not a relatively, prevalent type of exercise that they do, because it's a different animal, right? Like crypto is ultimately a little bit more commoditized in comparisons to equity, which is an ownership of a stock, right? So it's a little bit more of a different animal, so we cannot really compare them to apples, but obviously we are still seeing something that is forming some sort of correlations to the overall surge today, right? And also on top of the fact, I don't want to convolute the equation that we're seeing in front of us today, but there's a lot of complexity. I just want to lay it out for us to understand a little bit further. It's the anti-correlation effects that's also in the equation, right? Because of the fact that typically when the stocks surge, right, it takes away the monetary circulations, the pool of capital that's in the market away from crypto, right? So that's also another reason why, with respect to the rebound that we're seeing today on crypto, if today the equity side was not as prominently displaying some, major sector rotations that attracts the retail investors to be chasing in, today crypto will technically be rebounding even more significant, right? But again, because of that anti-collision effects, it kind of pull away from the levers, subsequently translating to the current level that we see in front of us right now. So hopefully that makes sense, and I hope I articulated that clearly for you guys. It's definitely a very convoluted couple of days, but it's good that we're reviving right now. And ultimately, despite all of this filtering of these, BS media affectation or news, if you may, technicals never lies, right? So we can dive into that in a bit. But before I do that, let me just look into the news front to see if there's anything that is really worth mentioning. I'll say collectively there's been like 4 or 5 news that's popped up in the last 6 hours so far. So with respect to the first one, Bazinga 1 hour ago. Talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum cracks below support. What's next? So this is a technical one. This is also talk about with respect to some of the crypto related stocks. Also crack below a key support level. Are we going to be in for more of a sell-off, right? I think it's interesting for us to read this article. If you want to read it, it's more of a trivial one. But in terms of is it anything substance? Not really, right? Because of the fact that if we can, filter out all the noise and just look into the technicals, I think that's more than sufficient, right? Because that's how it works for us, right? So we're just gonna use that use the technical analysis and filter out this news to just like not convolute our thinking at all. And then the next one that I see is basically talk about Bitcoin computational power may double in 2022. This is basically talk about the macro adoptions and the commercialization that we're seeing among the entire crypto asset class. So double possible. I don't know what double really means, to be honest. We could quadruple, we could be tripling next year depending on the corporate investors, and I don't know. Double is just like probably just a word that they use just for a title. But I don't know if doubling makes any sense. And it's kind of like a clickbait saying basically Bitcoin is going to double next year. But ultimately, the technicals tells the truth and has to make sense, right? We can't just double in a span of like a day, right? Unless there's like major web manipulations. But if like let's say Bitcoin doubles tomorrow, right? Where's the money going to come from, right? Every other asset class across the crypto market and the equity market will have to deplete some of their holdings, including possibly even real estate assets for the whales to be redeploying and basically rotate their funds into Bitcoin for it to literally double, right? So how likely is that going to happen, right? So not the most logical one, but again, more trivial news that try to stir the market to get some sort of emotional reaction, obviously, right? And then that's pretty much it. I would say the last one is on Bazinga, talk about extreme fear. Um, basically talking about with respect to the sell-off that we've seen in the last 2 days. But obviously we're seeing a rebound today, so this news is relatively stale, despite it came out like 10 hours ago. I guess it makes sense because that is like basically before the whole rebound that we're seeing in front of us, right? So ignore all the news. Let's just go straight into the technicals. As of recording time of again around 6 p.m. on the Eastern time right now. Ethereum is currently trading at $3,733, about close to 3% so far. Right now, we're contemplating going back to the 3,850, which is the next level of support that we need to get to. And I think the level that the support that basically the media is trying to say is that we crack below the 3,850. Obviously, we also crack down below the 4,150 to 4,000, which is a non-substantive level. But right now, we're just like hovering, levitating. We're literally levitating at the moment. But do we see more sell-off, right? We look into the RSI right now with the 40 out of 70. So we're basically like 5 away from being oversold. So I'm going to give that benefit of the doubt that we are oversold right now. We're already seeing a sign of curvature on the MACD front. So that means we are going to be reviving. Right, ultimately, the curvature of the trajectory has to make sense. Right? I don't foresee us just like continue to leap down. So I think basically the 3,650, which we've got support prior on the 15th of December and before. We also got some support around the 17th again, basically around the 2 Saturdays ago. And this was mainly driven by, again, right, the Joe Biden Omicron announcement that happened on the 2 Tuesdays ago. Right, so right now the rebound is real. It seems like it is forming a nice rebound. We formed a death cross recently, and that's why we sold down like this. So I think the curvature is gonna continue to durate, and we're gonna eventually form another golden cross, and we're gonna revive back up, and then we're gonna keep going back up, and regain the momentum as we are still arm wrestling with the bears right now. So respect to Bitcoin, up about 1.7%. Similar dynamics, right? We are at the 40 out of 70, but we have an interesting setup in comparison to Ethereum is that the MACD is on top of the signal. So but that doesn't really change the momentum, right? We're still like relatively depleted. I don't see us selling down to like 40, to be honest with you, because they'll be drilling oil. Unless you want to be going all the way to the core of the earth or get magma, if you may. So I think right now it's still a logical level to incur risk, and the next level we need to get above is the 48, obviously, right? And then the 50, and then obviously to 52. But 50 is not really a substantive level. The real level is at the 52,700, right? Dogecoin is at 17 cents right now. Anywhere from below 16 to below would still be the good level for us, right? Cardano, contemplating 134 to 120. I think anywhere in between is still good. I think ideally for me, 127, 125 would be a good level to incur risk. So I think I'll ideally place like a limit order from there. Solana is currently down about 1% so far. 155, 133 to 113 is still better dip for us. With respect to XRP, we're closing in on 78 cents. So yeah, I think 78 cents would be the good level to incur risk at. I do like this level, anywhere from 88 cents to 78. I don't see like 69, to be honest with you, because of how consolidated the 78 cents is. So 78 would be good enough, but 75, just for insurance purposes, I think that's a fair level too. And then for polkadot, it's up about 1.5%. Anywhere from 25 to below to 23 would still be a good level. Right now at the 46 out of 70. So I think right now 25 would be a good level to place your minimum order. 23 would be the next one. And I think it'll be hard to crack 23 because of how many consolidation zones we've had in the past. Algorand's up about close to 9% so far. I would stay away from this, to be honest with you, because we're running really hot. No signs of reversal yet, so when we have maybe a possible shot of actually surging up further, you could see that we tested the 177, which is the level of consolidation that we've had prior, but we completely give up afterwards. And we sold down basically 5 cents away. But we're still in the bullish setup right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got to like 185, 186 to be exact, and sell back down from there. But I don't really think it's worth your money to be holding the bag, because the probability of holding the bag is a lot higher than actually making any gains right now. So I probably would just stay away. Shiba Inu is down up about 0.5%. Anywhere from 2,900 to below will still be a better level. MagTag is up about 4%. 175 to 143 is still a better dip for us with the 60 out of 70. So we're about to form a def cross. So not a good setup, like I said, right? AVAX form a def cross, 47 out of 70, 81 to 60. Luna, flat right now, but we're going to be in for more sell-off going forward. It's just that this is like before the storm, like calm before the storm, right? So a deal selling down to 75, 62, 52, 45 from there. We're still at the 60 out of 70, so it's not the best level for us to incur risk right now. And in terms of elrond, right now it's still a good level. We are still depleted at somewhere around like 40. But obviously if you got in at the 235 prior days, right, that was the dip. But I think right now it's still worth the shot of getting some exposure. If you haven't got in, definitely way better when compared to when we're all-time high at like the 500, right? So elrond's still a good buy, I would say, in comparisons to other ones. And with respect to overall risk management level for the coins that we have in front of us, these are refined and revised collectively, just to make sure that we're teed up. And with respect to elrond, you can see clearly we are within the frame of reference that we have identified here. So feel free to take your logical risk if you feel like this is something that's worth your time or your energy and obviously your money. So let me know if you have any questions, and just want to say Happy New Year's Eve to all of us. I know it's already New Year's Eve in selective countries. I know that I live in US, so I'm still like a day behind. But hope you guys all have a great one. Spend time with your family and your friends. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye.